This is an unusual event for us. We're happy everybody is here. We have a lot of dignitaries here. We're very happy about this. I just don't remember who we were honoring today. But let me look. Let me check. Oh, Joe Gebbia. Hey. Yeah. Anyway, I'd like to introduce, to begin with, John Ernst, Mayor of the City of Brookhaven.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Alan, so much. So I was asked a couple weeks ago by Alan to say a few words about Joe in this celebration. And I thought, man, what am I going to say? And then someone called, and I forgot about it. So then I sat here in this chair right now, and I was like, oh, my God, what am I going to have to say? And so now, we didn't get the thing. I didn't know if this was like a roast. I'm glad that Joe is here out of his bunker. First time seeing you, out of your bunker here. For those who know, Joe has been doing most of our meetings in Zoom in places not in Brookhaven during the pandemic. In fact, for those who don't know, this is the first time all of City Council is in one room in the city of Brookhaven since the pandemic started. So, and it's because of we're all here. We all had to be here because of Joe. Even got John Park to come to one of these events. Wherever you are, John. Anyway, but in a lot of ways, I get a chance to say more about Joe in our last meeting. We have 2 more meetings, right, Joe? You have 2 more. Our last meeting coming on December 14th as our send-off. All the successes that Brookhaven has, every one of them can come back to Joe Gebbia. It might not have been his idea. It might not have been something he pushed forward. But he gave really the heart and soul to the city council for us to make decisions. And that is an item that is usually completely overlooked in government and in any leadership role, is the ability for one person to help other people come together on an idea. And a lot of the ideas were not Joe's ideas, but Joe led the council in the most civil way possible, so that when he wasn't the one, when it wasn't his idea or he wasn't getting his way, and for those who don't know in government, you never get everything you want. You just don't. But when that happens, Joe showed the leadership and the grace to say, that's one vote. That's fine. We'll move on to the next item and try to move the city forward. So without that mentality, we could not get the amount of stuff we could get done. Because if that mentality doesn't exist in the council, what happens is, as you see in many other governmental organizations, one person gets mad because they didn't get X. They hold it over another council member for Y. Someone else wants A. Y is not going to give A because of that. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that nothing gets done. So when that occurs, and as you've seen in other governments, nothing gets done. Infighting occurs. And it takes bigger people to say, and Joe as 100% was, and I don't want to make it sound like Joe was against a whole lot or anything like that. He wasn't like, but Joe, when those small items, because those items come up very few amount of times, and when they do come up, Joe would say, basically say, hey, my civility, our ability to move forward on different issues is more important than X. Because all the stuff we've created. And we look at all these pictures, and I notice that most of the pictures are when I wasn't around, because you were a lot younger. But anyway, But all the stuff we have done in an amazingly short amount of time. The Greenway, the CHOA, Emory University. Betty's here from Emory University, and great partners. For those who don't realize, those two items are in Joe's district. Both of them alone are the size of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So people talk about economic development and Mercedes-Benz. We have 2 Mercedes-Benz being built right now in our southern border in Joe's district because of Joe's leadership. Having the partnership with the Atlanta Hawks is in Joe's district. And by showing those successes gives us credibility to move forward with other items. Transit along the north, along 285, which I've led. The reason why I can help lead the region in that discussion about transit overall is because of the successes that Brookhaven has had. And the successes are directly related to Joe and his ability to keep us together. Joe, I'm going to really miss you. I have a massive amount of respect for you. I will, but I know our friendship doesn't end or anything like that. I know we'll be chatting with you. But I really look forward to the next way we come together. And again, thank you. I'll have some more on December 14th. Who am I supposed to turn it over to, Alan? Christian. Oh, Christian, come on up.
First and foremost, I want to thank all the veterans that are in the room. Thank you for your service. I had nothing to do with the order of the speakers. I'm going to throw you under the bus. I mean, I've been in this business a long time, and the city manager always goes after the elected officials. So, city council, I had nothing to do with the order. When I came here 5.5 years ago, I wanted to move to the south, had lots of options to choose from, and I interviewed with this young city called Brookhaven. And we had an interview, and I had a flight the next morning. I've never told the mayor and council this. I don't think I've told anyone this. I had a flight the next morning very, very early to another city for another job interview. And I got a call. I was literally in bed up at the Hyatt because I wanted to go to bed early because I had an early flight. And I got a call, and I don't remember if it was Chris or John or the mayor. I don't know who it was. They said, well, we'd like to have another interview with you or another chat with you. I can't remember how the wording went, but we need to meet down in Kaleidoscope. And I didn't know the city. And I go, where the hell's Kaleidoscope? What does that mean? I'm up at the Hyatt. And we ended up on the patio of Kaleidoscope. It was city attorney, Chris Balch, John Park, Joe, and the mayor. And we talked about me starting as city manager. And it was a wonderful talk. And it was that talk that, said, I could do this. This would be a great place. And Joe sold me on this vision of Buford Highway. As city manager, I can look at the financials like that and say, wow, this city, it's got a lot of wealth, but boy, it's got a lot on the table. And it was being told it's Buford Highway, Buford Highway, Buford Highway. And Joe showed me the plans, and he talked about it. I said, yeah, this city could triple its net value just by investing in Buford Highway. And this is before CHOA and Emory announced their stuff. I said, well, this is a great place. So ever since I've been here, I've worked for many city councils, many county commissions. This is a great council, both the current ones, the prior ones, and the future ones, because of Joe. The decorum, the class, the mayor used the word grace. It is grace. A lot of councils don't have that. A lot of elected officials don't have that. Just look at the dysfunction in Washington. Joe's the glue that keeps it all together. And I know John, I don't think John Funny's here, but John strikes me as being another Joe Gebbia, and that's going to be great as a city manager. When you run for office, I know how hard it is for you all. I mean, it doesn't pay much. It eats up a lot of time, but you have a bond with the community. You have a vision. You have a bond with the community. And I'm going to use that word bond very purposely here, because to get things done in this community, we had to issue bonds, right? And we've done a lot of good stuff. But a bond has 3 factors, okay? Hang with me, CFOs out there. A bond includes interest, maturity, and principal. And Joe is all that. He shows interest in the city, in our future, day in, day out. He has the maturity. I don't have to say anything about that. He has the grace. He's a gentleman. He's a true gentleman. He has principle. He sticks to his principles. Joe and I have argued about the same topics or debated over lunch for 5.5 years now, and we still disagree on them, but we still talk, and we still talk. So I'm going to miss Joe. I wish you well. Maintain your bond to this community, and thank you for your service.
Joe, I'm going to miss you. We're all going to miss you. City of Brookhaven's going to miss you. You know, we're going to miss all the things that we all know about you. We know that you have business acumen. You've always made sure that here in the city of Brookhaven, we get the best deals for the people. You've always made sure that there's a minimum of red tape, and if you can cut it for our citizens and our businesses, you do, and you take steps to make that happen. We all know that. We know you're a big picture guy with big visions, that you think big, and that's enabled so much of what has happened for the city of Brookhaven and for District 4. So thank you for that. But we all know that. But there are some things that not everybody knows about you. We all know, that's right. We all know about everything you've done for our city, police, parks, paving, permitting, zoning, all the great things that we have as a city council. And I have to tell you, back in the day, when I had been, as you'll remember, the spokesperson for Brookhaven, yes, for the cityhood movement, but then everybody started to run for office, and I was just so pleased I didn't have to. Because great people like you stepped forward and did, and it was later before I ran for office. You got in there and you built and you did that hard work along with that first council to make that happen. And then, of course, everything that we know, the Peachtree Creek Greenway model mile that the entire country is looking to duplicate, and Emory Brain and I knew I couldn't say this word. Musculoskeletal Center. There, I did it. The Hawks facility, CHOA, all of that. But then there are these things that not everyone knows. Not everyone knows how easy you are to work with. Not everyone knows how great you are to work with. Not everyone knows that when we on council need to talk to one another, and when I've always had occasion that I needed to talk to you, that you've always been available, you've always made yourself available, even under tricky circumstances. We've had such great conversations, and not everybody knows that, but I know that that's not just true for me, but for everyone you've worked with. And you're great to collaborate with. I've truly enjoyed working with you, and I remember very distinctly that Rebecca Chase Williams enjoyed working with you deeply. And when I came onto council, she shared with me the kind of experience I'd have working with you, and she was right. And I know that she wishes she were here today, and I wish she could be here today. And speaking of making yourself available to talk through the issues, we need to clear something up, Joe, and I'm going to have to actually ask you to come up here for a minute. Yeah, I need you to come up here. So we got to clear this up, because it was a couple of years ago that you and I had one of our longer sort of marathon phone calls. And after 30 or 45 minutes of talking about something, and it might have been the budget or I don't even know what, there was this rude voice on the phone that said, "I gotta go." And you said, "All right, Lindley, I get it. We're busy, I understand." I said, "Joe, that wasn't me. That wasn't me." You're like, "Oh, whatever, okay." I said, no, that was my dog." You said, "All right, I'll talk to you later, bye." And then I tried to convince you after that had been my dog, who suddenly and abruptly said, "I gotta go." I don't think you've ever believed me, so today I brought my dog's button.
I gotta go.
So I'm glad we got to clear the air today.
I gotta go.
And now, Joe, now it's your turn. It's your turn to push the button because you got to go.
I gotta go.
Thank you, Denise. That was so sweet. Very good. You had fun doing that.
Joe, as you know, I generally don't speak at these things, much less come to these things. But you've always had my back, and that's why I'm here for you. I'd like to say that everybody's so happy right now. We're talking about how great Brookhaven is, but it hasn't always been that way. At one point, Brookhaven was divided. It passed by one of the lowest margins of any new cityhood movements. There is still a large contingent of Brookhaven no people that had a deep mistrust of the city leaders. And it's through that mistrust, honestly, that I was elected. And I came on the council. And initially, there was not that much trust in the council. That changed when I met Joe Gebbia. When I met with him, I knew that I could count on him. And I knew that the only thing that he had an interest in was our future, and that I could trust him. And as a result of that trust, I became friends with J. Max Davis. I became friends with Rebecca Chase Williams. And we unified as a city. And it was telling when John Ernst was elected, one of the first things that he said was, there's no longer a Brookhaven yes, there's no longer a Brookhaven no, there's only Brookhaven. Joe, you brought it together, man. It's you. You've always had my back. I could always trust you. And as a result, you built this council that can trust each other and work hard towards a better future in all of Brookhaven. Thank you.
What a great occasion today. I'm, personally sad that it's because we're having to honor Joe, because I wish he would stay on council forever, but it is so nice to see everybody out here to celebrate him. When I think of a model of a council member, I think of Joe. I really think that Joe is the model council member that we've been able to look to, and that other council members across the state, have been able to look to for a lot of the reasons that we've already heard today. Joe is professional, as we all know, polite, always well-reasoned in his governance, and of course, as I think everybody has said, a gentleman, a true gentleman's gentleman. It goes without saying that Joe's dedication and service to Brookhaven have been like none other. As we know, we wouldn't have Brookhaven if it wasn't for Joe, and it certainly wouldn't be what it is today if it wasn't for his leadership. Joe, something that has always impressed me about you is that you are the biggest cheerleader for our city staff, for us council members, and that kind of loyalty is really hard to come by. I always know that Joe has Brookhaven's best interests at heart. You're going to be sorely missed, and I hope you come and visit us often. Thank you.
Joe, on behalf of Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, it is my honor to be here today to thank you on behalf of more than 11,000 staff members, the hundreds and millions of patients that we see each year, and their families for your vision. Your vision has helped us to create this next part of our campus that will be here to take care of children for the next 100 years. And without your listening ear, always coming in with what you think we could do, what we could accomplish if we all worked together on it, none of this right here in this picture would have been a possibility. And so on behalf of all of us, and most importantly, not only as an employee of children, but as a mom whose kids will be able to use this, hopefully not much, thank you. Thank you for your service, and thank you for all you've done for us in Children's Healthcare of Atlanta.
Good afternoon, everybody. Steve Chapman. I'm the deputy city manager for the city. I have a couple little stories I'd like to tell, and one of the first goes along with Christian of how did I get here? Well, I've been here about 5 years now, and when I was looking for positions, I saw it was sort of a split role of an assistant city manager / CFO, so that was interesting to me, And I figured I could do all the work. I was qualified. I'd been in the business for, 25 plus years. But I always noticed that it was very important with the different councils that I had worked with in the past that I wanted to make sure that the city council was going to be a good city council to work with. So I pulled up some videos and watched some of the videos of the city council. And the one that really stood out to me is the one where the city was going to have a Star Wars show go on, a Star Wars movie at one of the parks, and they had Darth Vader at the council meeting. And the mayor jumped off the podium and off the dais and sparred with Darth Vader. And I saw the rest of the council members. Everybody was smiling, having a great time. And so I said, okay, well, this council is not just the dry and cold and council that maybe beats up on one another. It's a council that has camaraderie, and it looks like they have respect for each other. And so that's really what brought me to Brookhaven. So when I came, my family was still in Florida, so I was commuting for a number of months back and forth because kids were still in school. So there were a lot of late hours, and we were doing a lot of work. Christian and I were doing a lot of work in Brookhaven. And a couple times, I would go out for dinner with Joe at night. And Joe was always generous with his time. And one of the things I valued the most is some of the just very, while confidential, just very open and honest conversations that Joe and I would have together. One of those conversations revolved around me asking Joe, how did you get involved becoming this politician for the city of Brookhaven? And Joe told me the story of a conversation of him and his spouse had, and about how things were going in Brookhaven. And she told him, Joe, why don't you do something about it? And so Joe ran for city council, became a city council member. And I think I can honestly say, and everybody in this room knows, that Joe did do something about it, and he has created an impact, and it will be felt in this city for decades to come. So thank you, Joe. Your imprint on the city of Brookhaven is here forever to stay. And I know that this isn't a swan song of going out. Maybe it is for Brookhaven, but I know that you're going to have impact going forward with your other ventures going forward from this point on, and you're a person that creates impact. So thank you very much for what I've seen from you.
Good afternoon, everyone. A wise woman, myself, once said that leadership is not about the words you speak, the fancy dinners or award luncheons or ceremonies. It's about rolling up your sleeves and showing how the work gets done. It's thinking outside of the box and being a visionary. It's about challenging the status quo and speaking for those who may not have the ability to speak for themselves. If you know anything about Councilman Gebbia, he embodies all of these things and more. Councilman, we are thankful for your service to the community. I am especially thankful for how you have challenged me to be innovative and forward-thinking within your district and assured me that no vision was too big. I will miss your texts during my presentations asking, can you talk about this too? And having to rearrange my speaking points. Or your phone calls and emails connecting me with other leaders who are just as innovative and forward-thinking as you. Although I hope you continue to make those connections, and I know you will. Thank you for being you, for always wanting the best for the people of this community, and for never stopping on that quest until you've exhausted all the options. We will all miss you, and we're very grateful for your service.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nancy was chairman in 2020, and I was chairman in 2021, and you can all guess what happened in 2021. So it was great to have the opportunity to be the chairman of the Brookhaven Chamber and have that lovely virus hit us at the same time. So it was a little intimidating to have both those things happen. But quickly, we have not had a chance to have the whole council and Mr. Mayor here. Your support that you have given us as a chamber, both financially, your trusted guidance, has really put the Brookhaven Chamber in a position to be the envy of all the other chambers in the state of Georgia. And Nancy and I are very, very lucky to have had the opportunity to lead the chamber. When I was the chairperson, Joe would call me when I needed advice. Even when I didn't need advice, Joe would call us, and
yes.
we would get on these long tangents, but the underlying theme was always, push yourselves, guys.
Yeah.
What can you do to support the community? How can you make the businesses thrive in Brookhaven? And Joe always challenged us. He pushed our value proposition to be where we're at today. We recognize we got a lot more to do, but if it wasn't for Joe, we wouldn't be standing here today with some of the stuff he's asked us to do. So Joe, from my point of view, we're a better chamber because of you, because of your thought leadership, your enthusiasm, and your passionate guidance. And we also feel we're better people to have the opportunity to know you. So thank you very much for all that you've done for us, Joe. Nancy?
And thank you for the love that you give to the community, because it shows in everything that you do. And we just appreciate what you did for us in the last years. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Joe, your achievements and pride for Brookhaven makes this event a time to toot your horn. So the Chamber would like to compliment you with some additional horn tooting. And how are we looking out there? We're on the way. Do a little horn tooting, Joe.
Good afternoon. You won't see me in any of those pictures because I don't think the camera was invented when we first started to work on Brookhaven. I think it was about 2011, maybe, when I saw an article in the paper that there was going to be a meeting for people who thought that cityhood for Brookhaven was a good idea. And I went to that meeting. I didn't know a soul. I'd lived here for 2 years. It wasn't the easiest thing I ever did, but I really believed in it. And so I met 5 or 6 people, including Jeff Keller, who had started the meeting, and I believe J. Max Davis was there. And we talked about why we wanted Brookhaven to be a city. And my input was, I feel as though I'm living out at the edge of a pasture. I'm not living in a community. And Brookhaven would make a great community. And boy, did we work. Some of you people, I can see your faces. We got up Saturday mornings and we'd walk with pamphlets around to houses. We'd ring doorbells, we'd wake people up. What do you want? Well, maybe I'll come back later, I said. We worked so hard, went to the legislature, had to redo the charter somehow. We took buses, we had a ball. And then there was the election. I remember the election, standing on the top of a table dancing somewhere. We were so, so happy. And through it all, there was this one fellow who kept coming to meetings, asking good questions, agreeing, disagreeing. And I found out that Joe Gebbia was going to run for the 4th District. And I couldn't have been more happy. That was the toughest district at that point. There were many people there who felt isolated, who lived in communities where everybody spoke Spanish or whatever. And through the years, although I moved away 3 years ago, I watched, reading the Brookhaven Blast and other newspapers, how that whole area has just boomed, how the people there feel much more included in Brookhaven. That, my friends, was a miracle. And we have Joe Gebbia to thank for it and for many other gifts that he gave this city. You know, there's a saying that a man who can do things well is a man who's at home with himself. That's Joe.
So I actually have the privilege to be the tourism marketing director for Brookhaven. And when I came onto the job, there was a job description and a board of directors and some bylaws, and that was it 3 years ago. I've been amazed at the opportunity and the growth and the development of this community. Similar to Steve and Christian, I sat in an interview at a table and thought, this is too good to be true. Like, these people are like honest and transparent and visionary. Like, I've never, 4th destination, I have never worked in a community like that. And probably about 2 months in, I had a closed door meeting with Christian and my chair and said, okay, something's amok. This is too good to be true. Is this really how it is? And they were like, it really is. And Joe, you were the first one to call me and congratulate me for being the inaugural tourism director for the city of Brookhaven, and gave me your vision of what that meant. And we have had lively conversations ever since, and I appreciate every last one of them. Your support, your leadership, your vision is obviously very welcomed and appreciated by a large room. Regardless of where home is for you, you will always be a guest in Brookhaven and always welcome here. Thank you so much.
My name is Santiago Marquez. Of course, I'm using my Spanish here. It's a pleasure to be here with you. It's an honor. I asked my predecessor to come up, not to say a few words, because I don't want him stealing my thunder, but to join me, I'm just kidding, to join me up here, because I don't know Mr. Gebbia that well, but we met a while ago, and what I do know is that Joe has always been a friend of the Hispanic community, has always been a trailblazer for Latinos, has really helped the LAA. And we're in District 4, by the way. Our building is on Buford Highway in North Druid Hills. Please come see us. We're open, 43,000 square foot facility. We serve about 45,000 people a year. And we've always had great leadership, and I really think that this should not be the end of your political career. I hope it's not. I hope that you run for Congress or Senate, and I mean that sincerely, because I think I know where you stand politically, ideologically, but you're a fair and honest person, and you're willing to work with both sides, and that's really needed in this country right now. We don't have a lot of that. And that's something that is true leadership, and so it's an honor to have you have you serve in this role, and I've gotten to know you. So we do have something for you, if you'll come up, sir. And I'm going to have Mick Jagger come and help me. Oh, no, he didn't make it. He'll be there. So here you go. So this is for City of Brookhaven Councilman Joe Gebbia and his 9 years of dedicated service as a gran amigo to the LAA and the City of Brookhaven Latinos.
I don't want to steal your thunder, Santiago, but I want to, as a resident, and I remember Mayor Ernst told me one time that I was one of those few that lives and works in Brookhaven. And I was so proud to have been at the LAA for 5 years, and I cannot say the support that Joe gave our community, our organization. I'm very thankful for that. I've always been. He was always there for our community. Joe, thank you. Enjoy your retirement. Hope to see you soon. Thank you.
I don't know, I think Joe's a little too thin. Maybe we didn't do a good enough job, but I'd like to tell a little story. About 5 years ago, we moved our restaurant from Petit Auberge. We bought the restaurant Violette's, and moved here. And shortly afterwards, we had a banquet in the back room, and one of my servers came up to me and said, somebody wants to speak with you. So I'm thinking, oh, problem to solve. Well, I come in, and it's Joe, and Joe introduced us, says, I'm your city council member. It's like, great, I wanted to meet you. We hit it off right away, and I was really surprised because I was used to sort of being outside where government runs and there's really nothing you can do about it. You just sort of have to go with the flow. Well, right away, Joe was different, and we got together and met a few times later, and then he asked me, we're working on a restaurant association. Would you like to be involved? And I very intelligently answered, what? Long story short, I met some really great people. I thought we worked really great together and got some good things accomplished, but my relations with Joe continued on, and anytime he speaks about Brookhaven, there's a sincerity, there's a passion that comes out, and it's genuine. It makes me, a former cynic, actually believe that you can do something. And this is just a wonderful feeling from helplessness to actually being involved. So I'd like to say, Joe, thank you very much for showing to me and proving to me that things can get better, that you can improve things, that one person really can make a difference. But thank you most of all for your support and for your friendship. You'll be missed. However, wherever you go on the West Coast, I'll find you and come visit when you're not expecting it.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is a fabulous event, and I want to thank the Brookhaven Chamber for putting this together. I was involved in Brookhaven when it was called Citizens for North DeKalb. It was an initial nonprofit that Mike Jacobs worked with. They determined that they wanted to have a city. They worked very hard to get that city, and after that occurred, there were elections for mayor and city council. A person I did not know ended up in a runoff in District 4 for the Brookhaven City Council, and I met him during that runoff. And I couldn't believe the kindness and the generosity and the humility of Joe Gebbia from the day I met him. Joe has been kind and generous with his time, his talent, and treasure. Any request I have ever had, or that anyone I know has ever had, has been taken seriously by Joe, and he's done everything he could to help. He will throw himself on the tracks for you. He is a guy, as Brother John Park said, has your back. I have felt that way for a long time. Brookhaven, as a startup city, desperately needed a guy like Joe Gebbia who has your back, who will tell you the truth, who will shoot straight. And they had it for 8 years. 8 years is not a long period of time when you consider Metro Atlanta or Georgia or even our lives. But 8 years is the entire duration of the life of the city of Brookhaven. And Joe Gebbia has been an elected official and a leader in it during the entirety of that time. It fills me with great sadness to see him leave the council, but we have developed a wonderful personal relationship, and which I will maintain. And I encourage everyone to stay in touch with him. Get in touch with Joe when he comes to town. And it's not hyperbole to say that I am more privileged and richer for having known Joe Gebbia. Brookhaven is privileged and richer for having been served by Joe Gebbia, and all of us are honored to know you, and we thank you from the bottom of your heart for your years of service for your community and your friends. Thank you, Joe.
Okay. So I'm not good at this, but I'm doing this for you, Councilman Gebbia. I don't know what else to say that has not been said. Councilman Gebbia is un amigo para todos, which means a friend to all. He has been a great friend to the Latino community and to many others, even behind the scene, even when no one is watching. I am certain that all the great things that have happened here in Brookhaven have your name. So you will be greatly missed. Thank you for your vision. Thank you for guiding us. Thank you for planting the seed when you want something done. Thank you, Councilman Gebbia. Gracias por ser buen amigo.
I'm John Funny, Councilman-elect for Brookhaven City Council District 4. Thank you to the Brookhaven Chamber for hosting this special luncheon to honor our Councilman Joe Gebbia and allowing me to participate via video. I would love to have been there in person, but I'm away on business. Now, how do I sum up the great things accomplished during Joe's term in 2 minutes? Well, I can't. It is impossible to sum up the many great things Councilman Gebbia has done since being sworn into office. Councilman Gebbia has served since the inception of this great city as a council person, but he was also a first-class mayor pro tem. Thank you for your service, Joe. Joe is a man of great integrity who has never shirked an issue when faced with matters of principle. And he's also a man of great courage, something he demonstrated throughout the establishment and the continuation of this great city. Having served on the Planning Commission in his district, I've admired his level of attention to the details as we all work to maintain and improve the quality of life for those who live, work, play, and visit our great city. Councilman Gebbia's long-standing and highly respected role to this council, to his constituents, and to the people of Brookhaven has given a level of service which is nothing short of outstanding, and I wish him well for long, healthy, and happy retirement. We will miss our library of knowledge, wisdom, and truth. We will miss the thoughtfulness that went into every matter that presented itself. So I say to Councilman Joe Gebbia, please take my calls as I seek guidance and advice. Since I'm not there in person, please give Alan the number to your red phone, and I will try my best not to call at 3 a.m. Joe, may God continue to bless you with peace and happiness in this world, the place we call home. God bless you and much success during your retirement.
Thank you. Believe it or not, we're going to attempt a couple of more. Do you have David? Okay. David Payne?
Hey, Joe. David Payne here with Emory. Sorry I could not be at the reception today to celebrate your retirement, but I did want to send a quick note to let you know how much we've enjoyed working with you over the years and how helpful you've been to Emory and its work with Executive Park. Wishing you the best in retirement, and I hope you have a lot of great time with those grandkids. Take care.
Okay. Thank you, David. We have one more. When I first became president of the chamber, the first chairman that wound up spending 3 years as chairman was Jay Groundwater. So we'd like to bring Jay Groundwater. He's aged a lot more than I thought he would have.
Hi, Joe. Jay Groundwater here. I'm sorry I wasn't able to attend the function today, but I did want to say a few words about you and thank you for your hard work. So back when I became the Chamber of Commerce chairman of the board in 2016, The organization was pretty small, and boy, we struggled with memberships, and in general, we were trying to find our place in growing Brookhaven. The one constant through my 3-year tenure was Joe Gebbia. In the beginning, our relationship with the city was pretty inconsistent, and that hampered our growth. Through the vision and leadership of Joe, we not only grew, but we became a valued partner with the city and the Brookhaven business community. We would not be where we are without you today, Joe, and our success in Brookhaven's is a reflection of your leadership. Thanks a lot, Joe, and best wishes to you going forward.
Thank you. I believe that concludes us. I want to thank Mad Films for doing all of this, and they've had 3 cameras operating, and they're going to edit into one film for Joe, and we're going to be having that also on our website, and we'll send it to the city as well. So Joe knows how I feel about him, and I know some people have said Joe retirement. Joe ain't going to retire. Joe has got too many ideas, and I know some of the things that Joe is planning to do in the future, and I look forward to being there with him and working with him. And Joe, we all love you. So Joe, if you wouldn't mind coming up and just saying a few words about how you feel about everybody, and keep it clean.
Wow. I'm kind of, don't tell Eileen, don't tell my wife this, but I'm speechless. It's amazing. I had some comments prepared, but they seem so inappropriate now. So, just speaking from the heart, this is a room of friends. You're all friends. We all know each other. It's amazing. So, I guess what I can say is, when I moved to DeKalb County in 2003, our kids had gone off to college, and my wife Eileen and I wanted to get closer to where there was life. We were 5 minutes down the road from Lenox, and I was 15 minutes from the airport, which was really exciting versus an hour plus living out in Lawrenceville. But when we moved in, we were so focused on our business that we had put the horse blinders on. And I could tell you who my neighbor was on the right, who my neighbor was on the left, by first names at least, and the neighbor across the street. And that was pretty much my world. And then all of a sudden I'm there, years later, and I'm hearing this talk about the city of Brookhaven. And I'm saying, this is interesting. I said, I need to check this out. And I did check it out. That's when I ran into Mary Ellen and Rick and Keller and a whole bunch of you out there, J Max. And I said to myself, you know, this is really interesting. It's got potential. And I was looking at it from the practical side, just saying, it's probably a whole lot better if you have a place for government where you don't have a commissioner handling 144,000 people, but you have a councilman handling 12,500 people. That was the essence of American government. You bring government closer to the people. That resonated with me. So I go home and I try to talk to my wife about this. Now, we're in the 4th District. The 4th District had no parks, but the 3 things that sold the cityhood was police, parks, and potholes. 3 Ps. That's what makes the city successful, believe it or not. Those 3 simple principles. And I talked to my wife, Eileen. I said, Eileen, you know, went through it with her. She said, you know, I'm not in favor of this. I said, why wouldn't you be? She says, well, first of all, she says, you're asking me to go with something that I don't know what the end result will be, and I'm not that dissatisfied with what I have. We had our blinders on. Remember, we weren't making ourselves available to parks. We had our transportation satisfied with where we lived, right off of North Druid Hills Road, off of North Druid Hills Road. So, as John said, when we became a city, it was like, what, 53-47, 52-48? It was a split almost down the middle. And that's a tough number to go against, because you know whatever happens, you're going to have that other side that's going to still be pushing for validation that their objection to it was correct. So Eileen voted no, and I voted yes. We were the epitome of DeKalb County, of the vote for Brookhaven. So we come back, and I walk in gleefully, and I say, hey, Eileen, it passed. No, we're a city now. And she looks at me. She says, well, what are you going to do about it? That's what John was referring to. Steve, I think, made those comments. And I was just trying to cover my base by saying, oh, watch, they'll probably screw it up now. And then Mike Jacobs came out with his call for people that wanted to run for office. And I had never been in politics before. But I had this feeling. It was inside of me. It was driving me. And I was bitten by it. And so I said to myself, all right, I'm just going to go down to the election office, and I'm just going to register, just in case I decide I want to move forward. And that's when I met Bates. We were both there at the same time. Interesting little side story on that is we got so much involved in the conversation that Bates ended up registering to run from my district. Because the woman that was helping me ended up helping him, thinking he was going for the same district. It was a funny story. And I went ahead and, you know, once you do things like that, if you don't, you have to follow, you're going to follow through because you made the initial step. And I started doing it, and I thought I could do it by myself. And I worked really hard at it, and I had some competition that was professional. It was a savvy competitor that I had that had been in politics and had run for other offices and helped other people. And then I looked up on the internet the people that I was running against, and I went to myself, oh my God, look at this, he's Mr. Brookhaven, he's Mr. 4th District. I said, there's no way that I can possibly compete against this. I should just throw the towel in now and protect my loss as far as how much money I had already invested. And then I said, no. I said, that's not it. That's not who I am. I said, I'm going for it. So I put my head down and I charged, and I think I knocked on every door at least 2 times. And that was a new event to me. It was really, 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 really satisfying. And I tell you what, I have loved every minute of it since I started 9 years ago. I love this town of Brookhaven. I do. You can't help but not to. It is a community. It has made me such a better person to grow out of where I was, and I never had allowed myself to do that before. I mean, how many times do you get to build a new city, right? It was amazing. What an amazing experience. Now, I've held a lot of positions. I've been with Fortune 500s. I've had my own companies. I have to tell you, the most satisfying job I've ever had is being the councilman for District 4 for the city of Brookhaven. It has been that much. So it's easy for me to be a cheerleader. It just comes naturally. It's something that I have really, really, really enjoyed. I'm going to miss it. So I was at lunch the other day with Rodney Cook, and he says to me, he says, are you going to miss it? And nobody had asked me that before. And I kind of like stepped back and said, of course I'm going to miss it. Of course. But nothing is forever, ever. Nobody is irreplaceable. Although I will say, I'm really glad John won. John is going to be an excellent. He came to me early in the race and was looking for mentorship on how to do it. And I put myself out there. I said, anybody running for the 4th District, I'm available. And except Dale Boone. So, no, I joke about that. But John asked the right questions. He wanted to know, he wanted to get as much of the institutional knowledge from me that I had, and I was happy to give it to him and share it with him. And he was a good learner. John had also paid his dues because he was 8 years on the Planning Commission. So he had a really good feel for what was going on in Brookhaven. Then, of course, he then led the Social Justice and Equity Commission for us, and until he retired from that to run for office. But it's been an amazing experience. I cannot, you know, I'm here. I should be honoring you. You are the reason why You gave me permission to do what I did. You trusted me, and I worked really hard to try and maintain that trust. But it's the folks out here, I have to thank you. This is kind of like the table needs to be reversed here a little bit. My council, I've had some great people that I've worked with, and I want to pay due respect to J. Max for what he did during the inception of the city. Rebecca Chase Willing, God bless her soul, was an amazing woman who had this really weird idea. She had this fascination with cherry blossoms, and what became of it? We have now one of the largest festivals in the Southeast, the Cherry Blossom Festival. And it was epitomized this summer with the block party that the Mayor John Ernst here pioneered. He put forth 30,000, 40,000 people every time. We do it at no charge. We have the acts, the stage acts that are begging to come perform with us. I mean, our reputation is skyrocketing. We have a reputation that's not only regional, it's statewide, and it's national. What we have done in this city for the last 9 years is phenomenal. It doesn't happen because of one person. Let's just get that straight. I mean, I appreciate all the accolades and everything, and it's been a real pleasure. It's a team effort, and the team that we have now between Mayor Ernst, Madeline, Lindley, and John, we have a special sauce going. That's how we describe it. Christian, I think you coined it as the special sauce. And you're right. We have done it right. We have always put the city first. We've had our differences, but we handle them correctly. And I'm just so blessed to have been in this situation, to have worked with you all. I can't, I'm kind of like lost for words, really. You've outdone me here today. Don't tell my wife. You're my dear friends. I see people that I've worked with, friends that I associate with. It's so nice of you all to come out. It just warms my heart. I mean, you know, when you're running, when you're in politics and you have an elected office, you mostly hear the complaints. You don't hear a lot of the good stuff. I mean, I've heard some of it during the years. This is over the hill. So it really, it makes me, I'm able to leave now with a much warmer heart and a lot more at peace that I know things are in good hands. I don't want to take up any more of your time. It's been a phenomenal day. Thank you for allowing me to say these last few words to you. Not last, we still have 2 meetings. And I have my comments for each of you, don't worry. But it's going to be good. I appreciate everybody being here, what you have shown. I'm really at a loss for words. Thank you very, very, very much.
We have one more thing for Joe to do. We have a cake over in the corner. We would like for him to cut it. I hope everybody got to see the cake. It's a beautiful cake. It has Joe's picture on it. But we really do appreciate everybody coming, and please stay to have some of this cake. I know Raj will. And also, please sign the banner in the back. Thank you. Thank everybody.